Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at a key prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. The Grade 1 American Pharoah going the two-turn mile in the 16th at Santa Anita. And we're going to break from the gate, and Mike Smith puts the pedal to the metal on the odds-on favorite, Corniche. He took no prisoners from the rail, Mike.
Yeah, he's riding the best horse in the race, the heavy favorite in here. He had the rail, so he used it to his advantage. He had the best speed. He makes the front, Dan, and it's his stablemate, Rockefeller, who was the one who's going to apply a little bit of pressure, not a ton of pressure early, but he will eventually come to challenge this horse.
And these two horses had been working together in the mornings. Rockefeller had a little bit of an edge over Corniche the last time they worked together, but Corniche in here is always going to hold Rockefeller at bay. He's comfortable on the lead, Corniche. We see a three-wide tracker, that being Papa Cap, who loses ground and all in all ran pretty well.
Yeah, he's going to wind up finishing a decent second in here. He did carry all the ground, just sort of out there on that three-wide trip. His rider is just letting him sort of settle out there to keep up. He's not really working too hard, but he does carry most of the ground in here. He's going to wind up being no match for Corniche through the stretch of this race. But I guess he runs pretty well for second. This is right here where Rockefeller is going to try to turn up the pressure. Rockefeller is going to be no match for his stablemate. He does tire at a fourth, but I didn't think Rockefeller ran a terrible race here, Dan.
Take a look at the horse at the back of the pack. That's Oviat Class, a horse that already had a two-turn victory. He fell so far behind in this race. He is starting to pick up horses, and eventually he's going to continue his rally for third. He was really far back.
Yeah, he was really far back down the backstretch, like almost like he couldn't keep up. DeSormo does everything right, though, for a horse with his running style. He never lost any ground. This horse is going to now start to rally. He's just picking up a bunch of tired horses here, Dan. He's going to be third. He's not going to be able to get second at the end of the day here. I guess he runs okay, but to me, he was just picking up pieces.
Let's talk a little bit about Corniche now. He's run twice. He has not been headed from two starts. I think we have to give him an extra point or two for successfully stretching out a daunting 3 furlongs in only his second lifetime start. Now, in his debut sprinting, here into Giant Buyer speed figure, a 98, he regressed to an 85 around 2 turns, but this is a horse with all 2-turn pedigree, albeit a lot of it on turf. He's a major factor in the Breeders' Cup simply because he has that 2-turn experience and he has a win at Del Mar.
Yeah, he's got the home court advantage. He also has a trainer in his corner who knows how to win a race like the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's won several of them. Listen, I like everything about him, Dan. Yeah, his debut came back fast. Sprinting where he had good speed here. He probably did have all the best of it, but I just like the way he turned away the challenge around the turn. He didn't bury this field, but he won it very easily. He just kind of looks like a real professional 2-year-old at this point. There's nothing really that flashy about him. He's just real. He's a real pro out there.
As for Rockefeller, he did tire to finish fourth, but as with Corniche, he was stretching out. He showed some good speed and he tired. Do you think this horse has upside? Is it Breeders' Cup Juvenile upside, or is it more, let's keep an eye on him down the road?
Yeah, I don't know about Breeders' Cup Juvenile for this horse. We'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they decided to try it. He's a good-looking sort, and he does have some talent. I just feel like even though he's wound up off the board in here, he was the one who was going after the heavy favorite. He actually tried to win the race. He was no match, and he did get tired at the end. That would worry me more than anything else, Dan, just the way that he didn't really have any finish at all, because there's a lot of sprint on the bottom of this pedigree. So I guess that opens it up to, how far he wants to go. But I wouldn't give up on this horse yet.
The DeSormo boys, I'm sure, are going to move on with Oviat Class to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. His lack of early speed could be a strike against him because all of a sudden now he's at the mercy of race and pace luck. But the Breeders' Cup Juvenile usually features a solid, if not outright fast pace. And with Corniche in there and with Jack Christopher likely shipping in from New York, a horse with good speed, there could be pace for him.
Yeah, sure. These kinds of horses always have a puncher's chance in a race like that. This horse, broke his maiden around a 2-turn mile in a race that they went fast in front of him, and he came from out of it and closed it down. Here he was a rallying horse from far back, and he just missed second. So he's always going to have a puncher's chance if they race in front of him. But I just really wasn't that taken with his performance in here. He's not really my kind of horse.
Thoughts on Papa Cap, who again was outside on the backstretch and into the turn, a clear second with a very brief look at Corniche at the 3/16. He couldn't keep up in the final eighths.
Yeah, I mean, he was no match for the winner. I don't, know what that means necessarily. Just the fact that he was in a three-wide trip all the way around, maybe it's enough of an excuse, for anyone to want to give him another chance. To me, it wasn't really. I do like the fact that he was able to hold on for second, though, Dan, because he was, pretty close to the pace all the way around there, and he did last for second.
Let's take a closer look at Corniche. This is a son of Quality Road, sold for $1.5 million earlier this year at OBS April. As I'd mentioned, he has a ton of distance pedigree, a ton of turf pedigree. He doesn't have to worry about turf, obviously, for the juvenile, but he does have the two-turn advantage, Mike, while a horse like Jack Christopher, the Champagne winner, has to stretch out around that two turns for the first time.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage for this horse. I think in a lot of ways you're going to go, you're going to show up at the Breeders' Cup with Corniche as the horse to beat that day, whether he gets it done or not. He's run really well in both of his starts. He's supposed to be fine. Coming right back over the same track, over the same trip that he just won at. Again, there's nothing that flashy about him. He's not that real spectacular 2-year-old. He's just real good.
And as we take a look at the prices for the American Pharoah, no surprises. Corniche was 1-2 in his debut. He was 2-5 in the American Pharoah. He ran like a 2-5 shot, and he's likely going to be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile for trainer Bob Baffert, who also has Pinehurst, the Del Mar Futurity winner, who skipped this race, also probable for the race. Corniche over Papacat and Oviatt Class in the American Pharoah.